Ladies and gentlemen, you have demonstrated that the IQ levels in this room are quite high. And so you will understand that we have a fairly good understanding of these candidates. So therefore, you will not object if the moderator exercises her privilege to give them 1 minute to close. Do you? No. All right. Candidates, you have 1 minute to close, and after that, we're going to the school board forum, starting on this end there.
Well, again, I'd like to thank you all for being here and for having me here and allowing us this opportunity to show you the differences and let you make an educated decision. I think it's safe to say that there are some different approaches taking place up here. Now, as a conservative, as someone who has cited and believes in the Constitution, I believe there is a specific role for the federal government, and anything beyond that role is left to the states and to the people. So if you're looking for less government involvement in your life, free markets, personal responsibility, then I'm your man. If you're looking for a Republican who does whatever the party tells him to so he can advance his own career, and he's obviously doesn't care what his constituents think because he hasn't bothered to show up for any of the forums or debates we've had, then you can keep on throwing your vote away and vote for Eric Cantor again. Now, you've seen the differences between Rick and I. We're opponents in this thing. We're not just going against Eric Cantor, we're going against each other as well. But I hope you notice that we're here talking to you, letting you see the differences so you can make up your own mind. We need to create jobs. That's what people want. People want to work. People want an economy that's moving again. People want an education that is #1 again. Now, as Floyd mentioned, yes, there are two schools of thought. My school of thought in regards to what Floyd has taken a stand on is that, his conservative thinking will take us back to the 18th century. But at least he's standing up here and letting you know that. I'm a school of thought that I believe that investment in infrastructure will take us to the 21st, 22nd, 23rd centuries. And so, the pledge to America, Eric Cantor does not talk about investment in small businesses. He doesn't talk about education. He doesn't talk about clean energy. But he does talk about borrowing money from China, where 80% of that money will go to the top 2% of wage earners. He does talk about dismantling Social Security, and he does talk about abolishing Medicare. And he also talks about that he thinks that banks should get away with predatory lending, that they shouldn't have to be brought to justice. He thinks there should be a different rule for some folks over here, and a different rule for corporate folks. So I thank you for having me, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you so much.
Let me say that one size really doesn't fit all. You shouldn't judge the Republican Party by me or me by the Republican Party. But to think that investments in our infrastructure, investments in our communities, investments in our schools, investments in our children is stimulus, I just think it's so wrong. Our children host the American spirit and American pride, and they're not looking for a handout. They're looking for a way out. We need to create jobs. We need to bring industry into our communities. We need to make sure as they come into our communities that we reduce the corporate tax rate. We need to make sure that corporations can take accelerated depreciation, and we need to make sure that we create the revenue source. If we do all of these things, then we will not only spur the economy, but we will also grow the very things that we need to do, and that is the faith in our community and certainly faith in our children. If we keep the money here and control the economics, we will stop the money from going to Washington, where we have to go to Washington to get it back. I hope you'll consider these things and really get back into the passion of what counts for our country. Thank you.
I have not taken any contributions from any businesses. I have not sold my candidacy to any organization or political group. I am dedicated to serve the neighbors that I represent. I am not pretending to be a polished politician, that's why I'm reading. I have never run for political office. I'm not a silver-tongued lawyer from a top university. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I do promise to listen to you when you speak. I do promise to attend local events anywhere, even when I'm not liked, and community meetings. I do promise to do my best to serve the people from all groups to come up with real solutions and can give this promise because I will not compromise on my efforts to serve the people. I would love to have your vote, and I ask for it. Thank you very much.
Good job.
I just want to highlight again that I am the candidate for freedom and liberty. I want to push the idea that we are born with inalienable and universal rights that cannot be taken away from us. They can only be suppressed. According to the Constitution, 13th and 15th Amendments, rights restoration happens automatically once you get out of the system. I know that's a big issue over in Virginia right now, because right now, think about it this way. For every person that cannot find a job because of the system in Virginia, that's one more person that needs somebody else to provide food and housing for them. Everybody else in the community has to work hard to provide for that one person. That's how you also reverse poverty. And finally, I just want to leave you with this. Although I don't agree with Bobby Scott when it comes to the Cybersecurity Act of 2009 and the Extension of Patriot Act of 2009 that he did vote for, I do support that he does support rights restoration issues. So we do agree on some things. And finally, I want to leave you with this, that I need your vote. I want your vote. I want to go ahead and represent all people for the 3rd Congressional District. And I appreciate the time that I had tonight. I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
We have some very serious problems, and we need to take some tough votes to fix them, not just talk. I'm proud of my record, particularly my record against discrimination and my record for children. I was designated a couple of months ago as one of the 25 hardest working members of Congress, and my work for children is most of that work. Now I'm asking you to make sure you vote. Strange things happen. In Alaska, the incumbent was comfortably ahead. All of a sudden she lost. In Delaware, you saw what happened in Delaware. If you don't vote, strange things can happen. We need to make sure that we don't abolish the Department of Education, we don't repeal health care and Medicare. It is actually crucial that you come out to vote. The 3rd District needs somebody that's going to stand up against discrimination, and that's what the Crusade for Voters has been doing for over 50 years. So I ask you on November 2nd to vote for Bobby Scott for Congress. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been a wonderful audience. We wish to thank these candidates for their participation. And let's again show our appreciation to all of them as they leave this setting and find their seats in the audience. We ask the 5th District School Board members to come forward.